Trec Dental is a chain of 19 dental clinics across Calgary. Join us for our next episode of the Flourishing Workplace Podcast, where we're going to learn about their journey with Dr. Jaffer, who is their CEO. See you there. Welcome to the Flourishing Workplace Podcast. Join today's leaders as we explore what it means to thrive at work, with purpose, safety, and strength at the core. Flourishing Workplace is changing the world by changing the workplace. Welcome, Dr. Jaffer, to the Flourishing Workplace Podcast. It's so great to have you here today.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you know what? To our audience, this is a real treat. I consider Dr. Jan a friend, but also in some ways in business, a mentor. I would like to say that he has done a tremendous job of creating healthy workplace culture as the CEO and CVO of Trec Dental. So would you mind, Dr. Jan, just sharing a little bit with us about your journey, business-wise, and what's happening with you and Trec Dental?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you again for having me. So Trec Dental, we're a group of dental clinics here in Calgary, and there's 17 of us that are actually part of the organization. My journey goes back to joining my father 23 years ago as a dentist. I graduated, I went down to the States for a few years, and I was actually really fortunate to get through a program that allowed me in 5 years to be finished dentistry out of high school. So At 22, joined my father and started practicing dentistry.
Wow.
Joining your father, that's always an interesting piece. But what I really enjoyed about that was people trusted you just because you're your father's son.
Right.
And so it's a great starting point for my career to have this mentor, which is, again, how we do better in life is having great mentors. And
So
then
true.
also having people trust you so you can actually start to do your craft, really quite well right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where it started. And then, we were given these really interesting opportunities of, hey, would you like to open a second practice somewhere? And at first we thought, yeah, you know what, we got a good thing going here. And I did convince Dad. I said, yeah, let's try the second one. There's two of us. And we kept finding amazing people.
Wow.
And amazing people create amazing environments that allow you to grow. And so for us, finding a partner, opening that second clinic, and then having another associate that said, hey, can we own? And so we're like, well, you can't own here because there's already a partner, but what if there was another clinic? And, so on and so forth. And most of our clinics, we actually built from the ground up, which is very unusual, at least in the dental space, because most people, when they grow, they actually buy clinics.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, you guys have a unique, you as a team, have a unique philosophy, right? I think some of it gets spelt out in Trec and exactly what that means. So tell us a little bit about that and how you differentiate yourself from some of the other organizations out there that are evolved in dentistry, the multi sort of unit or satellite unit practices that are out there.
Yeah, so we like to call ourselves value-based, socially conscious dentistry.
Love
that. We start with our values and we make sure that we're giving back to the world as much as we're taking from the world, or at least trying to create a balance. And so our values are in our name. So Trec Dental is our 4 values. So we start with teamwork, and we do believe that team is the foundation for everything that we do.
Love that.
And then we go into respect, respecting each other, but also respecting the people that we work with as our clients, but also the manufacturers and, the UPS guy that drops stuff off. Like there's a level of understanding that we don't function if the mail doesn't get dropped off. We don't function if our products don't show up. Number 3 is E, so exceptional dentistry. Obviously, we need to be good at what we do. And so giving patients that ultimate exceptional experience. And it's not about the dentistry, because I think it's interesting for patients. Most patients don't know how good our dentistry is, because did we do a good filling or did we do a bad filling?
Right.
It's hard for them to know, but the experience that they have, or maybe the pain that was, part of that, that's the experience that they get. And then the last is, continuous and never-ending improvement, or continuous improvement. And for that, it's, always trying to get better, one day at a time, knowing that, that concept of better, not best. We will never be the best, but we can be better every single day if we continue to, learn and work together.
Yeah. And I think that's amazing. Full disclosure, we worked with Jan and Dr. Jan and some of their clinics over a period of time. Who would think in some ways that a chain of dental clinics would be interested in developing workplace mental health and leadership? But I think it says a lot about the heart of you and your team. And so tell me, how it was that you kind of got that mindset to build that leadership capacity and that mental health in the workplace.
Yeah, so that's always an interesting one. Like, I think it starts with, again, dad creating an environment where we want to work with our team and we need healthy people to help treat patients. And
Right on.
dentistry is an interesting place where
Mhm.
the average patient that walks through the door doesn't like you. I mean, the most often thing that I hear as a dentist is, I hate the dentist. And you're like, and it's a really awkward starting point for a relationship,
For
right? And I'm
sure.
like, you hate the dentist. And they're like, no, sorry, I don't hate you.
Right.
I hate going to the
The
dentist.
experience.
But it's almost always adversarial as patients are coming in.
Right.
As they get to know you and have been patients for years, obviously that disappears. So trying to figure out how to keep ourselves healthy enough to handle that.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of stress in dental offices is based on not being liked very well.
Yeah.
And so, they used to talk about suicide rates in dentistry and
Yeah,
being one of the
wow.
highest. And I don't
Amazing,
think
right?
it's necessarily that anymore, but
Mhm.
that is part of it, is that when you always have people that don't like you,
Mhm.
it creates it's mentally hard on you.
Mhm.
And so you got to create some resilience on the team
Mhm.
to know that people are going to come in, and if we treat them well and we respect them and we do all these right things, they're actually going to become our friends.
Mhm.
And then the work gets so much easier because we know how to do dentistry.
Right.
Like, that's the thing we were trained to do. But
Absolutely.
work with people, understand people. A lot of our patients coming in are having their own struggles.
Sure they are.
Yeah.
I love that. And I like that really holistic approach. I think it means so much today, especially because not everybody has access to dental services. And so for some, there is some stress connected to that, depending on what is covered on their benefits plan versus what's not, versus do I even have a benefits plan?
Yeah.
And I'm sure for the dentist, the person serving the patient, it all sort of comes into play when they sit down in that chair.
Yeah.
And of course, the office team behind them, the support staff, the hygienists, all of those other folks. I mean, it's just awesome that you recognize that holistically. So recently you received an honor, and not to toot your horn too much, but I always think it's important to pay honor. It's ICD.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I was inducted into the International College of Dentists, and they do that based on humanitarian work or work within the dental community. So stuff that you're not getting paid to do, but
Sure.
you're doing. And so, yeah, it was quite an honor. I mean, it's in 140 countries around the world. I actually didn't know that. Getting into it, you have to get nominated, and then they vet you, and then
Right.
if you get there. And so it was great. Me and one of my partners, Dr. Reddy, were
Love that.
we're given that honor, and we got to go out to St. John's, Newfoundland, which is a really funny story because I was born there
Right.
46 years ago, and I'd never been back.
Isn't that
And so
something?
it was awesome to take the family and go out and do that.
I love that. And did they throw a parade for you, Newfoundland?
It wasn't, no, not quite. But I didn't need to be screeched in, I guess, because I was
Okay.
born there, right?
That's right.
So
That's
whereas, there were a couple of people in our group that decided to go through that process.
Yeah, I don't want to share too much here, but I have some great memories from Newfoundland over the years. Great people, great community, very friendly, and so just as we bring this conversation to a close, because we're going to have Dr. Jan over the next multiple episodes as we drill into some of the. Here we go.
Yeah,
some of the challenges around workplace mental health and creating healthy workplace culture. But I'd love to ask, as you think about, because you guys do a lot of charitable work as well. That's one of the things I've observed by just looking at your social media. Tell us a bit about some of those things and just this idea of giving back. I think it's really important for business owners to hear this and, sort of some of the stuff that you do, because I know it looks like it's varied across a lot of different sort of channels and platforms. And then what's the why?
Yeah. So to me, we're so lucky to be in Canada. When you get to travel the rest of the world, and I think that's, so important for people to do, is to get the ability to see the rest of the world. You see that we're blessed to be here.
Mm-hmm.
And some people don't recognize that. And one of my pet peeves is how much we in Canada complain.
Right.
Because we complain a lot.
Yeah.
And
I'm one of the top complainers, by the way.
What are we complaining about when, we complain about gas prices, but we have 2 cars.
Yes.
We complain about, heating our house. We have a house and we have a heater.
And 2 furnaces sometimes.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So when you take that back and you say, look, we're blessed. What can we do with that? And so to me, and we can spend a lot more time on this, but we start with gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're grateful, you have the ability to give back.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do you create that level of gratitude?
Mm-hmm.
And then once you do that, give people the opportunity to help. And that's where I think that, a lot of business owners can do this is, look, your team has either time or money, generally not both.
Right.
Can we make it easy to help others?
Right on.
And one of the ones that I like to always give an example about is just, the thing that we do every spring is we say, who wants to lose 5 or 10 pounds? And everybody laughs. Oh, I want to lose 5 or 10 pounds. We're like, in your closet. Go into your closet, bring us 5 to 10 pounds of stuff that you're no longer using, bring it to the office. We did this just in May, and our staff started bringing stuff, and it started piling up. So we had to put it in some of the waiting rooms. Right. And then patients were like, what are these black garbage bags doing? And we're like, oh, this is for women's in needs shelter. Nice. And patients are like, well, can we bring stuff? And we're like, yeah, of course you can. And so they start to bring stuff. And we ended up having to rent a 5-ton truck and go to all the offices because there was so much stuff. Wow. But it was easy because it cost people nothing.
Right. So good. That's fantastic. And I love how you talked about the starting point is gratitude. And, gratitude is one of those things that is often underappreciated, as strange as that sounds when it comes to mental health, right? It actually becomes a protective factor. Like we either go through life entitled, upset why I don't have more, or grateful for what we have, and then in a position to give back. And so what have you found gratitude is created as a culture thing amongst your team?
Well, I think as we become more grateful, we are able to help more. And that's ultimately where it comes down to, is our level of gratitude, being happy with what we have and knowing, hey, we can still want more. We can still have a nice house. We can still have a nice car. It doesn't preclude us from doing those things, but taking some of that and saying we can help others as well while we're doing it, both locally and internationally, in a whole nother conversation. But, we can do both at the same time and still live a good life, but still make sure that we take care of others along the way.
That's so good. Well, thank you for that, Dr. Jan. A lot to think about. And so, Dr. Jan, for anyone who might be watching here today, how could they get a hold of you or in touch with you?
Yeah, so a couple of different ways. I'm active mostly on Instagram or LinkedIn. So Instagram, Dr. Trec, and on LinkedIn, it's just Jan Jaffer. If you want to learn a little bit more about what we do as an organization, trecdental.com.
Okay. Really happy to let you know that Dr. Jan's going to be with us in our next episode, where we're going to drill further into the idea of creating healthy workplace culture and how do you develop leaders, because clearly Dr. Jan and his team have been able to do that, to grow and scale to 19 different locations. And so thanks, Dr. Jan, and we'll see everybody in our next episode. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Flourishing Workplace Podcast. Let's keep building spaces where people can thrive. Until next time, lead with purpose, and let's let our workplaces flourish. At Flourishing Workplace, we're changing the world by changing the workplace.